Good evening, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hey, Adam G, your online Queenspirational talk show. Grabe, guys, would you believe she's finally joining her first national pageant ever, making her as one of the most anticipated contestants in this pageant system. So here she is. I'm so excited to do this interview with her. Please say hello to Miss World Philippines 2022 contestant, Ashley Subijano.
Hi.
Hi, Ashley! Finally!
Hello. So lovely to see you again.
Me too. After more than 2 years of just talking over Instagram, we're finally doing this interview in the flesh. How are you since your screening last time?
I'm very excited, a little bit nervous, of course, but I feel like I've been training for this for 3 years, which I have. So I want to enjoy everything because with Miss World, there's so many fun components and activities that there's just so much to enjoy.
How are you handling all this positive reception that you've been getting from the fans?
It's definitely a contrast because I remember when I was crowned as the first Miss Charm Philippines, I think the only favorite I was my mom's. I knew I wasn't the favorite from fans or even other spectators, but my mom always taught me never let those opinions get to me. What matters is how I feel on the inside and if I feel I'm being purposeful. So with all the positivity that's come my way, of course I'm very flattered, but I just want to do justice and do the best that I can, knowing how hard I've worked.
And when I was watching you during the screening, I was really surprised by the ibang Ashley that we are seeing right now compared to the first time that I saw you 3 years ago, back in Glam 2019. Now you look more confident. Grabe. Grabe. What has changed
aside from my
about
hair?
you since that time during Glam 3 years ago?
It would have to be how I perceive myself. Because at that time, I really was just focusing on college, on modeling. When I joined Glam, it was a modeling competition, and I happened to win a beauty pageant title. So the adjustment from all that, even to joining Miss World Philippines, really challenged my maturity as well as my overall outlooks. And I think my confidence as a woman has really been derived from taking that time and effort to learn more about myself, to see how I can be more impactful, not just as a beauty queen, but as a person in general.
Yeah. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So things kind of, took a different turn. Yeah, because back then we knew that you were about to compete for another international pageant.
Yes, in March of 2020 when the pandemic really struck the world.
So in those 3 years that we've seen you evolve as a pageant contestant, and now joining Miss World Philippines, can you share us the story behind it? What led you to join this pageant system?
After studying the different various pageants that there were, you really start to understand that there is a different peg, a different kind of beauty queen spokesperson that each is looking for. And I think studying that and analyzing myself after all this time I spent growing and trying to improve as a beauty queen, I figured that the one I was best for was Miss World Philippines, was Miss World, because I see how their beauty queens are such spokespersons. They're very vocal. They're heavily invested into social, economic, global issues.
Yes.
Yeah, and I felt that that platform would give me the biggest chance to be the most impactful with my strengths.
Yeah, because I can see how you really speak well, right? So, yeah. So, and not only that, what's also going on for you is your pedigree. Because, let's face it, for sure, because of that pedigree, any pageant organization would really love you to have as a title holder. So, what is it about Miss World Philippines that really entice you to join?
after watching how they handle their candidates, all of their challenges, I really saw that the girls were able to shine in so many different ways, in so many facets of being a beauty queen. And personally, my favorite challenge would be the head-to-head challenge, just because I love when beauty queens are given more than just 30 seconds to speak about things that they believe in or issues that they want to shed light on. And with the Miss World platform in general, along with their franchises to different countries, they really let their queens be vocal. And that's something I've always been enthusiastic about.
And you know what? One of the things that I am really excited about this is the prospect of you joining or following your mom's footsteps in Miss World, because let's face it, she really represented us so well back in 1994. So I wonder, how did she react on your decision to finally join Miss World Philippines?
She was definitely surprised because, I mean, from other spectators, I can understand how they may have predicted it being her daughter, but I grew up not really knowing that my mom was a beauty queen. And even after I learned that she was, I still never really knew what that meant until I became an adult. After seeing the more recent Miss Universes as well as international winners, then I started to understand how big of an impact they had as an international beauty queen. Like seeing what Pia Wurtzbach has done for HIV awareness, or Catriona Gray for education to underprivileged children. So being a Miss World and wanting to utilize that platform for how charitable they are and how dedicated they are to their causes, my mom just told me, do your best, make the most, but remember the responsibility that you have. Because if you utilize this platform properly, you really can make a difference and you really can do so much, not just for your country, but internationally as well.
Is she a hands-on mom to you? Not.
When it comes to schoolwork, yeah. When it comes to my career, she could tell early on that we were very different and similar in various ways, but she found that the best way to advise me and support me was to take steps back, always give me guidance, be there for me whenever I needed her, but to let me shine in my own way and forge my own path.
That's nice. So, I wonder, how is she training you for this? Mas matindi ba siya mag-train kaysa sa ACES?
Yeah, because the time where she was trained by Joey Espino and me by Aces and Queens, the difference in generations is very different, especially the pageant industry now. She gives me a lot of advice. She's always there for me as, you know, any supportive mom would. And she's able to give an insight that only a former Miss World Philippines can give. So that's really helpful. But again, she trusts the people I'm surrounded with Aces and Queens.
So, as early as now, do you feel some sort of pressure? Because let's face it, you'll be compared to your mom, since she really made us proud during back in 1994. So, are you ready for the comparison, the criticism that will come ahead?
I'm not so afraid of it now because of what I experienced when I was crowned as the first Miss Charm Philippines. Because back then, I knew that the outputs and the opinions of people weren't very positive. I know that a lot of people didn't believe in me except my mom and maybe some of my friends, and I was okay with that because I knew how hard I was working, because I believed in myself, because my mom always taught me to focus on the things that matter when they matter, and to never lose sight of how hard you are working, even if other people don't see that. So having built that mental fortitude over the past few years and knowing how hard I've worked while training, at this point, those comparisons, they can only affect me in a positive way because I let them.
I like your mindset. You're not
I got it
bothered
from
or
my mama.
yeah, she really raised you well. So for sure, ready ka na sa, let's face it, pageant fans can be really mean on social media, especially if you're a front runner. So ready ka na to handle all those that will be coming your way.
We all try to make the most of what we can, especially in situations that we can't control. And that includes the opinions of other people, especially if they're harmful to us. So, really, I just want to have fun with Miss World Philippines. There's so much to have fun with. There's so many challenges, so many contestants, and
Yes,
focus
yes.
on the real goal at hand.
And looking at your growth right now, I can't believe it's been like more than 3 years since the last time we saw each
Oh my
other.
God.
So I wonder how have you been preparing in those 3 years? For sure, kung ano man yung kunyari, if you may have come across as very greenhorn 3 years ago, now probably you are probably acing those stuff that probably you couldn't do during your introduction in the pageant world.
Yeah, because at that time, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. I was figuring it out. I was trying my best in school and my modeling career, but in terms of beyond that, I didn't really have a plan. I was still figuring it out. So when I was crowned a beauty pageant title in a modeling competition, the first person I came to was my mom and my mentors. And I said, how do I adjust? What do I
Yeah.
do with this? Because modeling is so different from being a beauty queen, let alone an impactful beauty queen. So that's when they started to introduce me to how impactful you can be if you use your voice properly, how much it means to Filipinos, and how you can reach all of these different marginalized areas if you do your research. That's when it really started to develop my growth and my heart of who I am, how much I really, felt honored with that opportunity and wanted to make the most of it. It was mostly mental. I think everything else with how my body or my hair has changed, it all followed, but I just told myself, if I'm gonna be on stage as a beauty queen and my goal is to win, I know that the judges are gonna see me not through how much makeup I have or if I have hair extensions, but they're gonna see my heart. And that's what I need to work on the most of. It's maturing the essence of who I am.
At 23, you're finally achieving that. And you speaking about speaking about this platform and raising your voice for the causes that are close to your heart. So as we all know, Miss World is all about beauty with a purpose, and they have been championing this program since 1970 or 1980s. So for you to come here to Miss World Philippines, you need to present something to the table. So what cause would you like to shed a light on
Well, I was
for this
recently
pageant?
adopted by one of the largest women's chapters in the world, JCI, Magadi Princess Verduha. And being a part of this chapter, we get to work on so many different community development projects. They usually last for about a year each. And when I was adopted and inducted into the Women's Pledge, I actually found that they were starting this new program called Pause for Cause. And they're combining rescued animals with rescued children who are victims of child sex trafficking. And both those causes were so close to my heart. One, animals, because I grew up with 3 rescue cats as my household pets. They were all strays, all rescued. And so I've always had a soft spot for animals. I've always volunteered with them since I was a teen. And for child victims of sex trafficking, because this was my more humanitarian cause. And I was always a little bit afraid because it's quite controversial. It makes people uncomfortable to talk about this. And the statistics have actually drastically increased since the global lockdowns around the world of children who are trafficked in Southeast Asia. So when I heard about this project, it really felt like it was meant to be, not just for me to become a part of this Women's Pledge, but to take action into this kind of project because it's sponsoring these animals, these children. It's bringing them together as a form of therapy and ultimately creating these kinds of bonds that can help heal the trauma and the damage that was caused by any abuse that both the animals and the children have dealt with.
So it's good that you talk about something that is coming from a personal experience. I wonder how did your love for your pets or the animals for this matter begin?
I grew up with rescue cats as my household pets. So I think I always perceived animals differently. You know, you see one that's abandoned on the street and probably discarded by the world. But the way that I saw it is that's part of family. That's something that belongs in your home that you can take care of and can develop such an amazing personality that you'll form a bond for life with. You know, I just saw so much more.
How has your mom, how has your parents reacted to how you have been forging your pageant career so far?
They're
But-
very supportive as long as I always remember that it's my intelligence that matters the most and that I never lose sight of my careers beyond being a beauty queen or a model. It's something that they've ingrained in me since I was little, since even before I started modeling or learned that my mother was a beauty queen. Because my mom and my abuelita, they always tried to teach me that it's your intelligence that you will carry with you, that beauty without substance is meant to decay, and that your wisdom is what will truly accumulate value over time.
So that kind of explains why you're choosing Miss World because of the BWAP program.
Yeah.
So listening at you right now, do you think pageants are really evolving to become a better avenue for all the causes that you girls have been espousing, or do you think this is just some sort of a fad that will eventually fade away? Or in other words, do you think all these advocacies just are making pageants more relevant?
I absolutely believe they're making pageants more relevant. You know, Miss World, for example, they're the largest, not largest, sorry, they're the oldest pageant organization there. And they actually started out as a swimsuit competition, just swimsuit. But seeing as how they've evolved and how dedicated they are to all of the charities that they partake in, you really see these women as spokespersons giving so much light and voices to their causes that they're dedicated for. And seeing as how this is so relevant now, you see so many women coming from various backgrounds talk about projects or even occurrings all over the world that you probably never would have been aware of if not having heard her speak about it. And by giving a voice to all of these marginalized people for these causes that have often been silenced, you're really utilizing the platform to do good in the world.
I love how Julia Morley is really doing or implementing her BWAP program. But how do you feel that even up until now, for the past 4 decades already, feminists are still very against about the idea of girls like you having to parade themselves on swimsuit, have being going against the idea of you girls performing in front of the stage, wearing a swimsuit while advocating your cause.
I can understand where they may come from. Something that beauty queens and feminists have in common is that they're very firm on standing up for what they believe in. But as a beauty queen and having met so many other beauty queens who are proud of what we do, we're not allowing ourselves to ever be sexualized or fetishized. We're celebrating our femininity because our femininity is power. We're proud of the bodies that we work hard for because we believe we're healthy. We're proud of the gowns that we're proud to wear from our countries because they're a piece of our culture along with modern fashion. And the whole element of all of these things seen on a beauty pageant stage, it's all to celebrate what we believe in, what we enjoy, and what we stand for.
It's nice. I love your mindset talaga. So, in those actual 3 years that you have been training for a pageant, how has this shaped your outlook in life? Let's face it, because you're training during the time of a pandemic where everything is so uncertain. What have you discovered most about yourself during those times that you were competing, that you were training?
I actually looked back into my memory and I found so many different quotes and lessons from my mom and my stepdad, my parents who raised me. And the biggest one that's impacted me most as an adult, even though I learned it as a kid, was to always look beyond what is in front of you. So when you're a beauty queen and you're thinking about what you need to do to win, Look beyond what's in front of you. Look beyond the crown. Look beyond everything that seems glamorous and glorified as is. And think about what you can do, the impact that you can make. Even after your reign ends, what will you have accomplished and how will you have set the bar? So even with COVID and how some pageants have been postponed or often the performances can't have live audiences, always think about the bigger picture and what you can really leave behind as a beauty queen, despite the factors that you can't control. Even I was worried about this too, because as a growing young woman in college, especially with this changing economy brought by the pandemic, I've seen a lot of job security go very scarce. So I've been very afraid of it myself. But because I've been able to still concentrate on my schoolwork, earn different certificate programs in other fields, even have other part-time jobs, I've been able to put my parents and myself at ease as long as I am always moving forward, whether it be in the different facets of my life or whether it be as a beauty queen or even both. As long as I know that I'm progressing and I can prove this progress to them by giving them comfort as my parents, then I'm still on the right track.
That's nice. So now that we are seeing you compete for the title of Miss World Philippines, I wonder, what will you do with the title should you win?
There is so much to be talked about in the world right now, especially since the COVID pandemic, because there have been so many marginalized and victimized communities, from Asians because of the racist implications about the coronavirus, to, like I mentioned, children trafficking statistics going up because of the lockdowns, or even HIV causes not receiving funding, public funding, and having to turn people away. There have been so many occurrings happening and not enough people are talking about them. I understand that's clouded because of everything that is going on in the world, but we need more people still talking about these issues and still directing and invoking movement to ensure that change is there to benefit people.
And the platform of Miss World is a very perfect avenue for you to talk about all these things.
Yeah.
Right, so for the past few minutes, we have been talking about your purpose for the pageant, why you are joining, how Miss World and its BWAP program has been making huge strides in the community, in the pageant world right now. So since we are talking about purpose, I wonder, and we're talking about beauty, what do you think for you? What is beauty for you? And how do you think that purpose how can you drive that purpose and that beauty?
I always felt that a person's beauty is measured by the beauty they bring out from the other people around them. Anyone can be physically blessed, anyone can be pretty, but your beauty is your aura. Your beauty is how you conduct yourself and how you treat the people around you.
That's nice. So as my last question, why do you think you deserve to win Miss World Philippines? Or why should you be the next Miss World Philippines?
I have trained consecutively since 2019. I've studied all that there is to study, and I focused on who I am as a woman with the aim to be an impactful beauty queen. I truly believe that with given this platform, I can illuminate so many topics that have often been forgotten or undermined because of this pandemic. And with the platform from Miss World, I really want to go back to creating positive changes.
Nice. And on that note, thank you so much, Ashley. There's
you
no
so
doubt
much,
that you
Anna.
will really make huge inroads in the upcoming competition. As early as now, I can see you doing well in head-to-head. What else? You're a model. You'll probably do well for sure in top model and then beach beauty. Although I haven't seen you in swimsuit, but knowing how you have been working hard to achieve, you have been working or training alongside with the other girls from ACES for sure. Paghahandaan mo rin talaga yun. So you seem to be the overall package.
Thank you so much for interviewing me. It feels so special because You're the first person to ever interview me when I was a candidate for Global Asian Model Philippines. And now you're the first person interviewing me since I've become a candidate for Miss World Philippines.
So who knows? Probably the next time I'll interview you will be wearing a crown on top of your head that time around. And I can't wait for that to come into fruition. So maraming salamat again. I had a
so much,
blast
Adam.
catching up
Thank
with you. And good luck
Thank
on
you
your
very much.
upcoming
Much love.
journey.
Thank you.